The only thing that seems to be happening now is no debates about politics, but debates about culture. And Donald Trump seems to have realized, and maybe he's always realized it, but now it seems to be getting extra emphasis. He
Well, yeah,
wants
I
to
mean,
have an argument about the culture war, and it seems the right wing media does too.
yeah, I mean, I think they think it works for them. That for what it definitely churns up their voters. I think that's they understand that about them. I mean, we watched the last campaign, and I think we know what animated their voters, the voters for Trump, were definitely culture war issues. I mean, which mostly had to do with race, but it crosses all boundaries. And so, Trump has always had an instinct for this stuff. I mean, this goes back to the 80s when he was taking out full-page ads against the Central Park Five and demanding, unleash our police or whatever and bring back the death penalty. I mean, he's been hitting that stuff for a very, very long time. He has an instinct for it. He's one of those guys. We all know people like this who just, they just have a way of really, always bringing this stuff into the conversation. So, I mean, I think that's part of it. And I also think that the media is, I don't know, there's ADD right now, right? I mean, we've got disasters everywhere. We've got, we're on the, potentially on the brink of nuclear war. We've got a rogue president, an unfit president in the White House who is continuously doing these things. So it's very difficult to kind of, understand anything more complex than something like, will you stand for the flag or won't you? And right. That seems to be sort of where we gravitate to sort of express our discontent. And, I don't know that over the long term that it works for Trump. I mean, at some point or another, you get the sense that, I mean, I don't know how many times you've said this, but I've heard it from, dozens and dozens of people, and I've thought it myself, which is just this one phrase: he's tearing the country apart. And I actually think that he's doing that on purpose. I mean, this is his way of sort of maintaining control, is by having this be culture war issues. And, and of course they are real issues. I mean, I don't mean to demean them in any way. I mean, this stuff with the NFL protest is absolutely real. It's a First Amendment issue. It's also, of course, the original protest was about the epidemic of police violence against unarmed black men. I mean, that's a real issue. The gun issue, I mean, we haven't even talked about that. I mean, the fact that somebody just mowed down, hundreds of people in Las Vegas, and we've forgotten about it already because, it's like, nobody can go there, and yet that is a huge culture war issue. And then we've got this Harvey Weinstein thing, which gets back to the issue of women in the workplace and all this, which goes right into what was going on during the campaign and what was revealed about Trump and all of this. So these are very, very real, and they're important. But I think that what ends up happening is we can't look away. We don't want to look away. They're very important, but it kind of ends up in this big, it's like a civil war. I mean, we're fighting amongst ourselves over these issues, and it's just absolutely, and of course it ends up exhausting us, right? I mean, we're all just, numb after a certain point.
Well, I mean, I think it's quite obvious what the value is to Trump from a political standpoint. I think there's also probably, you don't necessarily have to have a medical degree to get the sense that there's a psychological issue with Donald Trump, and where, he wants to interject himself into everything. I think we've talked about how, Donald Trump has ruined, it's almost like and perhaps, although I have a feeling that there's data to support this. I mean, you would hear the right during, we would make a joke about "thanks, Obama," right, in the most mundane of things, to mock the right wing, blaming Obama for everything. But there's a quality where Donald Trump has insinuated himself into every facet of people's lives. He didn't need to send Mike Pence to that football game specifically to leave, to maintain this protest. He didn't need to get up there and announce to everybody, like, this is the calm before the storm. What's that mean? I'll tell you later. I mean, there's a sadism, there's a desperation to
Yes.
be in the middle of this that is really I mean, I don't know that I don't know that we've had a leader like this. I don't know that we could have had a leader like this, because now we have, just in the past 10 years, 5 years, social media, which makes it omnipresent. And of course there's a certain, feedback loop, because he's on Twitter, right? So I mean, he can see in real time as how people are reacting to him. Yep. And this is very, unhealthy, I think, for the country and for its people.